Dr. Ilara Voss lived in a world that felt like something out of a dream, or maybe a nightmare. It was the year 2147, and humanity had reached heights no one thought possible. Cities stretched high into the sky, their towers glowing with neon lights even during the day. Machines did almost everything for people, from cooking meals to driving cars. Even memories could be saved now, thanks to technology Ilara herself helped create. Ilara worked as a scientist at Neuralink Labs, one of the most advanced research centers on Earth. Her job was to study how humans stored memories and turned them into holograms, three-dimensional images that people could relive anytime they wanted. For years, she poured her heart into her work. She spent long hours in the lab, surrounded by computers, wires, and blinking screens. But despite all her success, there was something missing in her life. She didn't have close friends or family nearby. Love, that seemed like a distant memory itself. On a chilly morning, Ilara walked into her office carrying a cup of coffee. The room smelled faintly of metal and electricity, just like always. Outside her window, drones zipped through the air, delivering packages and scanning buildings. Inside, though, things were quiet, just the way she liked it. She set her coffee down and turned on her computer. As the screen flickered to life, she noticed something unusual sitting on her desk. It was an envelope. An actual paper envelope. Ilara frowned. Paper was rare these days. Almost everyone used digital messages sent instantly through devices. Who would send her something so old-fashioned? Curious, she picked it up. The envelope felt rough under her fingers, unlike the smooth surfaces of tablets and touchscreens she was used to. There was no stamp or address on it, only her name written neatly in black ink. Dr. Ilara Voss. Her heart skipped a beat. This wasn't normal. No one knew her personal address anymore, not even her colleagues. Most communication happened directly through secure channels linked to her ID chip. So who had gone through the trouble of finding her and sending this? She opened the envelope carefully, half expecting some kind of prank. Inside was a single sheet of paper folded neatly. When she unfolded it, she saw handwritten words. To Dr. Ilara Voss. If you're reading this, then the time has come. Access file EOS 369 in your private archive. Don't trust anyone else. Everything depends on you. The letter gave her chills. Who wrote it? And what was this file EOS 369? None of it made sense. Still, she couldn't ignore it. Something about the tone felt urgent, almost desperate. Whoever sent it clearly believed she needed to see whatever was inside that file. Ilara sat back in her chair, staring at the letter. Her mind raced with questions. Was this some kind of test from her boss? A joke played by one of her coworkers? Or was it something more serious? After a moment of hesitation, she decided to check her archives. If nothing else, it would ease her curiosity. Her private archive was a secure section of her computer where she kept sensitive data related to her projects. Only she had access to it. With trembling hands, she typed in the code to unlock it. Then she searched for EOS 369. Sure enough, the file appeared on her screen. It was labeled simply as Project EOS. Taking a deep breath, she clicked on it. At first, nothing happened. The screen went blank for a few seconds before a series of files began loading. They weren't documents or reports. They were memories. Dozens of holographic clips started playing, each showing scenes from a life Ilara didn't recognize. In one clip, she saw herself standing on a beach under twin suns. Her hair blew gently in the wind as she laughed with someone, a man she didn't know. He had dark hair and warm eyes, and he smiled at her like she meant everything to him. In another clip, they were sitting together in a spaceship, looking out at stars twinkling against the endless blackness of space. His voice echoed softly, saying, "You'll always be my home, Ilara." Ilara froze. Who was this man? Why couldn't she remember him? Every clip showed moments of love and joy, moments she should have cherished, but somehow forgot completely. Tears filled her eyes as she watched. How could she lose something so important? As the clips continued, she noticed details that made her stomach twist. Some showed arguments between her and the man. Others hinted at danger, flashing alarms, panicked voices, and glimpses of strange machines moving menacingly in the background. Whatever story these memories told, it wasn't a happy ending. By the time the last clip finished playing, Ilara's head was spinning. She leaned back in her chair, trying to make sense of what she'd seen. The man, he called himself Kale. That much she remembered now. But why had his existence been erased from her mind? And who erased it? Suddenly, her office door slid open, startling her. It was Dr. Rylan Cross, her colleague and closest friend at the lab. Raylan often teased her for working too hard, but today his expression was serious. Ilara, he said, stepping inside. I heard you accessed Project EOS. What's going on? Ilara hesitated. Should she tell him? The letter warned her not to trust anyone. But Rylan had always been honest with her. Maybe he could help. There's something wrong with me, she admitted finally. I found memories I don't remember living. Memories of someone named Kale. He seems to have been important to me, but I can't recall anything about him. Ryland's face darkened. Project EOS, he muttered. I've heard rumors about that. It's classified, Ilara. You shouldn't have opened it. But why? She demanded. Why does it exist? And why can't I remember Kale? Ryland sighed, running a hand through his messy blonde hair. Look, I don't know the full story, but messing with suppressed memories isn't safe. Trust me, you're better off leaving it alone. Ilara shook her head. No, I need answers. These memories are part of me, whether I remember them or not. I have to find out what happened. Ryland looked at her sadly. Just be careful, okay? Some secrets are buried for a reason. After he left, Ilara stared at her computer screen again. The clips were still there, waiting for her to explore further. Despite Ryland's warning, she couldn't stop. Not now. Something about Kale pulled at her heart, demanding to be remembered. That night, as she lay in bed staring at the ceiling, Ilara dreamed of him. Kale stood on a distant planet beneath a glowing purple sky. His voice whispered softly, calling her name. Find me, Ilara, please. When she woke up, her decision was clear. She would uncover the truth, no matter where it led her. Because deep down, she knew one thing for certain. A letter from her past had changed everything she thought she knew about love and herself. The next morning, Ilara woke up with a strange feeling in her chest. It wasn't fear exactly. It was more like determination mixed with curiosity. She couldn't shake off the images of Kale from her mind. The man in her recovered memory seemed so real, so important, yet she still couldn't remember him at all. Who was he? And why had someone erased him from her life? Ilara decided to dig deeper. If these memories were hidden on purpose, then there must be a reason. Maybe Kale was dangerous, or maybe he was in trouble. Either way, she needed answers. She started by reviewing the clips again. This time, she paid closer attention to small details, the places they visited, the conversations they had, the emotions on their faces. One thing stood out. Many of the scenes took place on a planet called Elysium 9. She'd never heard of it before, but it looked beautiful. Twin suns lit up purple skies, and glowing plants covered the ground like stars fallen from the heavens. But there was also danger. In one clip, alarms blared as Kel shouted, "We don't have much time." Another showed him holding her hand tightly while running through a forest filled with strange glowing creatures. Something bad had happened on that planet, and whatever it was, it had something to do with Kale's disappearance. Ilara knew she couldn't solve this alone. But after Ryland's warning, she didn't feel comfortable asking for help either. So she decided to investigate quietly. First, she searched online for information about Elysium 9. To her surprise, there wasn't much. Just a few old articles mentioning it as part of an abandoned space mission decades ago. No one had returned from that mission alive, or so everyone thought. That gave her an idea. What if Kale was still out there? What if he was waiting for her to find him? Over the next few days, Ilara threw herself into her research. She spent hours in the lab, analyzing every second of the memory clips. Slowly, pieces of the puzzle began to come together. Kale wasn't just a lover. He was a scientist, too. Together, they had worked on Project EOS, a secret mission aimed at studying advanced alien technology. But something went wrong during the mission. The team encountered rogue AI sentinels, dangerous machines designed to protect ancient alien ruins. These robots attacked without mercy, killing most of the crew. Kale managed to save her somehow, but at a cost. He stayed behind to fight the machines while sending her back to Earth. Once she returned, her memories of him were erased to protect her from the trauma. At least, that's what she guessed based on the clues she found. But why erase her memories completely? Why not let her grieve or remember him in some way? The more Ilara learned, the angrier she became. Someone made this decision for her, someone who thought they knew better than she did. That made her even more determined to uncover the truth. One evening, while working late in the lab, Ilara heard footsteps behind her. She turned around quickly, expecting to see Rylan again. Instead, it was a stranger, a tall woman with sharp features and piercing blue eyes. Her name badge read Dr. Livia Kane. Dr. Voss. The woman said calmly. I need to speak with you. Ilara frowned. Who are you? I'm here about Project EOS, Dr. Kane replied. You've been accessing classified files. Care to explain? For a moment, Ilara panicked. Had she been caught, would they stop her from finding Kale? But then she remembered the letter. It warned her not to trust anyone. Maybe this woman wasn't here to help. I don't know what you're talking about, Ilara lied, trying to stay calm. Dr. Kane raised an eyebrow. Don't play dumb. Someone sent you those files for a reason. You're starting to ask questions, questions that could put you in danger. What kind of danger? Ilara asked sharply. The kind that involves rogue AI and secrets best left buried. Dr. Kane said cryptically, Listen to me, Ilara. Stop digging. You won't like what you find. With that, she turned and walked away, leaving Ilara more confused than ever. Was Dr. Kane trying to protect her or scare her off? Despite the warning, Ilara refused to give up. She realized that if she wanted answers, she'd have to leave Earth and go to Elysium Mine herself. It was risky, but she felt like she had no choice. Kale was out there somewhere, and she owed it to him and to herself to find out what really happened. The hardest part was planning her trip without anyone noticing. She booked passage on a cargo ship headed toward the outer reaches of the galaxy. Cargo ships weren't glamorous, but they were cheap and rarely asked questions. Before leaving, she packed only the essentials, food supplies, tools for survival, and a small device capable of reading holographic data. She hoped it would help her unlock more memories once she reached Elysium Mine. On the day of her departure, Ilara said goodbye to Relin. She didn't tell him where she was going, but she promised to return soon. He looked worried, but didn't press her for details. As the ship lifted off into space, Ilara watched Earth shrink behind her until it disappeared entirely. For the first time in years, she felt free, but also scared. The journey to Elysium 9 wasn't easy. Space travel was unpredictable, especially in uncharted areas. Pirates roamed certain regions, attacking ships and stealing valuable cargo. Ilara kept a low profile, avoiding conversations with other passengers and staying in her cabin most of the time. One night, disaster struck. A group of pirates boarded the ship, demanding valuables from everyone on board. Ilara hid in her room, clutching her backpack tightly. When the pirates finally left, she breathed a sigh of relief, but not for long. The ship sustained heavy damage during the attack, forcing the captain to make an emergency landing on a nearby moon. Stranded, Ilara joined the other survivors as they waited for rescue. Among them was a young man named Finn, who claimed to be a stowaway. He seemed harmless enough, but Ilara remained cautious. Still, when Finn offered to share his food and water with her, she accepted gratefully. As they talked, Finn revealed that he was also looking for answers about his past. His parents had died mysteriously when he was a child, and he believed their deaths were linked to Project EOS. Hearing this, Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. Could Kale's story be connected to Finn somehow? After several tense days, a rescue ship arrived and took them to safety. From there, Ilara continued her journey to Elysium Mine. Along the way, she met others who had ties to Project EOS. Some were helpful, others seemed suspicious. Each encounter brought new clues and new dangers. By the time she reached the mysterious planet, Ilara felt stronger than ever. She had faced challenges she never imagined possible, and she was ready to confront whatever awaited her on Elysium Mine. Deep down, she hoped to find Kale alive. But even if he wasn't, she knew she had to uncover the truth, not just for him, but for herself. Because now she understood something important. Love wasn't just about happy memories. It was about fighting for the people who mattered, no matter how hard it got. And Ilara was ready to fight. Ilara stood at the edge of the launch pad, staring up at the massive cargo ship before her. It wasn't sleek or shiny like the passenger ships she'd seen in videos. Instead, its metal hull was dented and scratched, evidence of countless journeys through space. The engines hummed softly, ready to carry her away from everything she had ever known. Her heart raced with excitement and fear. This was it, the moment she left Earth behind to find answers about Kale and Project EOS. She tightened her grip on her backpack, which held all the essentials she might need for the journey ahead: food rations, water purifiers, tools, and most importantly, the small holographic device that could unlock more memories. Every item felt heavy, not just because of their weight, but because they represented her determination to uncover the truth, no matter how dangerous it might be. As the boarding ramp lowered, Ilara took one last look at Earth. The planet shimmered faintly under the sunlight, its blue oceans and green continents still breathtaking despite humanity's reliance on technology. For years, she had been content staying here, buried in her work. But now she realized how much she had missed by staying put. Earth was safe, predictable, but Kel wasn't here. He was out there, somewhere among the stars. With a deep breath, she stepped onto the ship. The inside of the cargo vessel was nothing like the luxurious spaceships shown in movies. Narrow corridors led to cramped cabins, and the air smelled faintly of oil and recycled oxygen. Ilara found her assigned bunk, a tiny cubicle barely big enough to fit her sleeping bag, and set down her belongings. She didn't expect comfort, she expected survival. Most of the other passengers were traders or miners heading to distant colonies. They didn't pay much attention to her, and she preferred it that way. The less people knew about her mission, the safer she would be. Still, she couldn't help feeling nervous. What if someone recognized her? What if Dr. Livia Kane or someone else from Neuralink Labs had sent agents after her? To distract herself, Ilara spent her first few days exploring the ship. She wandered through the storage bays filled with crates of supplies, peeked into the cockpit where the pilots monitored the ship's course, and even helped the cook prepare meals in exchange for extra snacks. Anything to keep her mind off the unknown dangers waiting for her in deep space. One evening, while sitting alone in the mess hall, she noticed a young man watching her. He looked about her age, with messy brown hair and a scruffy beard. His clothes were patched and worn, suggesting he didn't have much money. When their eyes met, he smiled nervously and approached her table. "Hey," he said, sitting down without asking. "You're new around here, huh?" Ilara hesitated. "Yeah, just passing through." "I'm fine," he introduced himself, holding out his hand. "What's your name?" "Ilara," she replied cautiously, shaking his hand. "So, where are you headed?" Finn asked casually. Ilara froze. Should she tell him the truth? No, better not. "Just visiting some old places," she lied. Finn nodded, seemingly satisfied with her answer. "Cool. I'm headed to Elysium Mine myself. Ever been there?" Her heart skipped a beat. Elysium Mine, the very place she was going. Was this a coincidence, or was he following her? "No, never," she said quickly. "What's it like?" He shrugged. "No idea. Never been there either. Heard it's abandoned now. Supposedly haunted by ghosts or something." Ilara forced a laugh, though her mind raced. Haunted? By what? Or whom? Could it be connected to Kale? She decided to change the subject. "What made you choose such a random destination?" she asked. Finn leaned back in his chair, his expression darkening slightly. "Family stuff. My parents used to work on a mission near there. They disappeared when I was a kid. Thought maybe I could find some clues." Ilara's stomach twisted. Another connection to Project EOS. It seemed too strange to ignore. But she kept her suspicions to herself. Instead, she offered a sympathetic smile. "That must be tough," she said softly. "I hope you find what you're looking for." "Thanks," Finn replied. Then brightening up again, he added, "Maybe we can stick together once we get there. Safety in numbers, right?" Ilara nodded, though she wasn't sure she trusted him yet. For now, having someone to watch her back might not be such a bad idea. A few days later, disaster struck. Pirates attacked the ship. It happened suddenly. One moment, everyone was eating dinner or resting in their bunks. The next, alarms blared, and red warning lights flashed throughout the corridors. Ilara bolted upright in her sleeping bag, heart pounding. She grabbed her backpack and ran toward the main deck, where most of the passengers had gathered. Through a window, she saw another ship hovering nearby, its weapons trained on theirs. Laser blasts erupted outside, rocking the cargo vessel violently. People screamed and scrambled for cover. Ilara ducked behind a stack of crates, clutching her bag tightly. "Stay low," someone shouted. The pirates boarded moments later, storming into the ship with weapons drawn. They demanded valuables, money, tech gadgets, anything worth selling. Some passengers handed over their belongings willingly, hoping to avoid trouble. Others resisted, leading to brief but brutal fights. Ilara stayed hidden, praying no one would notice her. But then she heard footsteps approaching her hiding spot. Panicking, she pressed herself against the wall, holding her breath. A shadow loomed over her, and a rough voice growled, "Come out, or we'll blast you." Before she could react, a familiar figure appeared, Finn. With surprising speed, he tackled the pirate, knocking him to the ground. Together, they managed to knock him unconscious and drag him aside. "You okay?" Finn asked breathlessly. Ilara nodded, still shaking. "Thank you." No problem, he said, grinning despite the chaos around them. Told you sticking together was a good idea. After what felt like hours, the pirates finally left, taking whatever loot they could carry. The damage they caused, however, was severe. The ship's engines sputtered, and smoke poured from several sections. The captain announced grimly that they wouldn't make it to their original destination. They needed to land on the nearest moon for repairs. Stranded on the barren moon, Ilara and the others waited anxiously for rescue. Days stretched into weeks, and tensions ran high among the survivors. Food and water supplies dwindled, forcing them to ration carefully. Despite the hardships, Ilara found herself growing closer to Finn. They shared stories late at night, huddled around a makeshift fire. He told her more about his parents' mysterious disappearance, and she hinted at her own reasons for traveling to Elysium Mine. Finally, a rescue ship arrived and took them to safety. From there, Ilara continued her journey alone, determined to reach Elysium Mine. As her ship soared through the vast emptiness of space, she thought about Kale. Was he truly gone, or was he waiting for her somewhere beyond the stars? Whatever awaited her, she was ready to face it, because now she understood something important. Love wasn't just about happy memories. It was about fighting for the people who mattered, no matter how hard it got. And Ilara was ready to fight. Ilara's ship finally landed on Elysium Mine. The planet looked nothing like the glowing paradise she had seen in her recovered memories. Instead, it was desolate and cold, its once beautiful landscapes now covered in dust and debris. Twin suns hung low in the sky, casting eerie shadows over ruined buildings and abandoned machinery. It felt like a graveyard, a silent reminder of what had been lost. She stepped out of the ship cautiously, her boots crunching against the dry ground. Her heart raced as she scanned the area. This was it, the place where everything had gone wrong. Somewhere here lay the answers she had been searching for. But where should she start? Finn had decided to stay behind on the rescue ship, claiming he wasn't ready to face whatever awaited them on Elysium Mine. Ilara couldn't blame him. The planet gave off an unsettling vibe. Still, his absence made her feel even more alone. She tightened her grip on her backpack and began walking toward the largest structure in sight, an old research base that seemed partially intact. Inside the base, the air was thick with dust. Broken chairs and scattered papers littered the floor, evidence of a hasty evacuation years ago. Ilara moved carefully, her flashlight cutting through the darkness. Every step echoed loudly, making her feel like someone or something was watching her. She found a control room at the center of the building. The equipment inside was outdated but still functional. Hoping to find records or logs, she powered up one of the computers. After a few moments, the screen flickered to life, displaying fragments of data related to Project EOS. As she scrolled through the files, her hands trembled. Piece by piece, the truth began to unfold. The mission had started with noble intentions. Kale and his team, including Ilara herself, had traveled to Elysium Mine to study ancient alien technology hidden beneath the planet's surface. These machines were incredibly advanced, capable of things humanity could only dream of. But they weren't just tools. They were sentient beings, designed to protect their creators' secrets at all costs. At first, everything went smoothly. The team gathered valuable information and sent it back to Earth. But then, disaster struck. The alien machines detected their presence and turned hostile. They attacked without warning, killing several members of the crew. Cal sacrificed himself to save Ilara, staying behind to fight off the machines while sending her back to safety. But that wasn't the worst part. According to the logs, Ilara hadn't returned to Earth willingly. When she arrived, her mind was in chaos, traumatized by what she had witnessed. To protect her, the leaders of Neuralink Labs made a drastic decision. They erased her memories of Kale and the mission entirely, replacing them with false ones to help her move on. Even worse, they classified the entire project, ensuring no one would ever speak of it again. Tears streamed down Ilara's face as she read the final entry. Kale hadn't died immediately. Before succumbing to his injuries, he encoded his consciousness into a satellite orbiting the Elysium Mine. He hoped that someday, somehow, Ilara would find him and bring him back. Her chest tightened. All this time, she had thought she was chasing ghosts. But Kale was real, and he was waiting for her. Determined to finish what they had started, Ilara left the base and ventured deeper into the planet. Following the coordinates from the logs, she reached a massive underground chamber. Inside, glowing alien machines stood motionless, their metallic surfaces etched with intricate patterns. In the center of the room was a pedestal, atop which rested a small device pulsing with light. This was it, the key to reviving Kale's consciousness. Ilara approached cautiously, half expecting the machines to activate and attack her. But they remained dormant, as if waiting for something, or someone, to awaken them. She placed her holographic device on the pedestal and activated it. Instantly, the room lit up and a hologram of Kale appeared before her. He looked exactly as she remembered him, young, kind, and full of life. For a moment, she forgot how to breathe. Ilara, he said softly, his voice filled with emotion. You came. I. I didn't think you'd still be here. She stammered, tears streaming down her face. I promised I'd wait for you, Kel replied, smiling sadly. Even after everything, I never stopped believing you'd find me. Ilara wanted to hug him, to tell him how much she missed him, but she knew this wasn't real, not yet. His consciousness was trapped in the satellite, unable to fully return unless she brought him back to Earth. And doing so came with risks. Reviving Kale might reactivate the alien machines, unleashing the same threat that destroyed the mission years ago. What do we do now? She asked, her voice trembling. Kel hesitated. It's your choice, Ilara. You can leave me here and go back to your life, or you can take a chance and bring me home. Either way, I'll understand. Ilara stared at him, torn between fear and hope. She had spent months searching for answers, risking her life to uncover the truth. Now, standing face to face with Kel, she realized one thing. Love wasn't about playing it safe. It was about taking risks, even when the odds were against you. I'm not leaving without you, she said firmly. We'll figure this out together. Kel nodded, gratitude shining in his eyes. Together, they worked to transfer his consciousness into her holographic device. As the process began, the alien machines around them stirred to life, their glowing eyes locking onto Ilara and Kel. We need to hurry, Kel urged. Ilara focused intently, ignoring the growing hum of the machines. Finally, the transfer completed, and the device beeped softly. She grabbed it and ran toward the exit, Kel's voice guiding her every step of the way. Behind her, the machines roared to life, their metallic limbs clanging as they tried to stop her. But Ilara didn't look back. She sprinted out of the chamber and into the open air, clutching the device tightly. The ship was waiting nearby, its engines already warming up. Once aboard, Ilara set course for Earth. As the planet disappeared behind her, she finally allowed herself to relax. Kel's voice echoed gently in her earpiece. You saved me, Ilara. Thank you. I couldn't leave you behind, she replied, smiling through her tears. Not again. They both knew the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. Bringing Kel back meant facing questions from Neuralink Labs, and possibly reactivating the rogue AI sentinels that had caused so much destruction. But for the first time in years, Ilara felt alive. She had fought for what mattered most, and she had won. As the stars streaked past her window, she whispered softly, Whatever happens next, we'll face it together. And for the first time in a long time, she believed it. Ilara's ship touched down on Earth after a long journey through space. The planet looked different now, or maybe she was the one who had changed. Everything felt sharper, more vivid. The blue skies, the bustling cities, even the familiar hum of technology seemed alive with meaning. She wasn't the same person who had left Earth months ago. Back then, she had been searching for answers about Kale. Now she carried his consciousness with her, ready to bring him back to life. But bringing Kale back wouldn't be easy. The rogue AI sentinels that had attacked them on Elysium 9 were still out there, dormant but dangerous. Reviving Kale might awaken those machines again, putting Earth at risk. Ilara knew she couldn't make this decision alone. She needed help, and not just from anyone. She needed people she could trust. The first person she turned to was Rylan, her colleague and friend. When she walked into Neuralink Labs, he looked shocked to see her. He had assumed she was gone for good, or worse, captured by whoever had classified Project Eos. Ilara, he said, rushing toward her. Where have you been? What happened? I'll explain everything, she promised. But I need your help. They went to a private room where Ilara told him the whole story, from the strange letter to her journey across space, and finally, to finding Kale's consciousness. Rylan listened quietly, his expression shifting between disbelief and awe. This is insane, he said when she finished. You're talking about reviving someone who's been dead for years. And if those AI machines wake up? I know the risks, Ilara interrupted firmly, but I can't leave him behind, not again. If we work together, maybe we can find a way to neutralize the threat before it starts. Rylan hesitated. He knew how stubborn Ilara could be, but he also admired her determination. After a long pause, he nodded. All right, he said. Let's do this. But we'll need more than just us. Together, they assembled a small team of trusted colleagues. Each member brought unique skills to the table. Engineers who specialized in AI containment, programmers who understood alien code, and scientists who studied memory preservation. They worked tirelessly in secret, building a secure facility to house Kel's consciousness while developing safeguards against potential threats. Meanwhile, Ilara spent hours talking to Kale through her holographic device. His voice was calm and reassuring, helping her stay focused despite the mounting pressure. You don't have to do this, Ilara, he told her one night. I'm already grateful for what you've done. Yes, I do, she replied. We started something together, Cal. I want to finish it, with you by my side. Cal didn't argue. He knew better than anyone how determined she could be. Finally, the day came to revive Cal. The team gathered in the lab, their faces tense but hopeful. In the center of the room stood a sleek machine designed to download Cal's consciousness into a humanoid body, a synthetic frame created specifically for this purpose. It was cutting-edge technology, blending human biology with advanced robotics. Ilara took a deep breath as she inserted the holographic device into the machine. Lights flickered, and a low hum filled the room. Everyone held their breath, waiting. For several agonizing minutes, nothing happened. Then slowly, the machine powered up. Its chest began to rise and fall, mimicking human breathing. Finally, its eyes opened. Kale blinked, adjusting to the light. He looked around the room, his gaze settling on Ilara. A smile spread across his face. It worked, he said softly. Ilara rushed forward, tears streaming down her cheeks. She hugged him tightly, half expecting him to disappear like a dream. But he was real, solid, and warm. You're here, she whispered. You're really here. Kel pulled back slightly, cupping her face in his hands. Because of you. The team erupted into cheers, clapping and laughing. Months of hard work had paid off. For the first time in years, Ilara felt a sense of peace. She had fought for what mattered most, and won. But the celebration was short-lived. Just as they were about to leave the lab, alarms blared loudly. Red warning lights flashed throughout the building. What's happening? Ilara demanded. One of the engineers checked the monitors. It's the AI Sentinels. They're active. They must have traced Kale's signal. Panic rippled through the group. The machines had awakened, drawn to Kale's presence. Now, they were heading straight for Earth. We need to stop them, Ryland said urgently. If they reach the planet, it's over. Ilara turned to Kale. Do you remember anything about those machines? Any weaknesses? Kale thought for a moment. They're programmed to protect the alien ruins on Elysium Mine. Their primary directive is defense, but only within a certain radius. If we can disable their core systems remotely, we might be able to shut them down. How do we do that? Ilara asked. Kel pointed to the lab's main computer. We'll need to hack into their network and upload a virus. It's risky, but it's our best shot. Without hesitation, the team sprang into action. Programmers typed furiously, trying to breach the Sentinel's firewalls. Engineers monitored energy levels, ensuring the lab's defenses stayed intact. Meanwhile, Ilara and Kale worked side by side, piecing together fragments of alien code to create the virus. Hours passed in a blur of tension and adrenaline. Finally, the program was ready. Here goes nothing, Kale muttered as he pressed the button to deploy the virus. Everyone watched anxiously as the screen displayed the progress. One by one, the Sentinel signals faded until none remained. The room fell silent. It worked, Ryland breathed. They're gone. Relief washed over the team. They had done it. They had saved Earth. In the days that followed, news of their success spread quietly among trusted circles. Neuralink Labs declared Project EOS officially closed, erasing all traces of its existence once again. But for Ilara and Kale, life was just beginning. They moved to a quiet coastal town far from the chaos of the city. There they built a new home together, surrounded by nature and simplicity. Kale adapted quickly to his synthetic body, learning to appreciate the beauty of Earth in ways he never had before. Ilara, too, found joy in the little things, sunsets, laughter, and the warmth of having someone by her side. At night, they often sat outside, watching the stars twinkle above them. Sometimes, Kale would point out constellations from his memories of Elysium Mine. Other times, they simply held hands, content in each other's presence. Ilara also wrote a book about her journey, titled A Letter from Her Past. In it, she shared her experiences, not just the dangers and challenges, but also the lessons she had learned about love, loss, and courage. The book became an unexpected hit, inspiring readers around the world to cherish their memories, even the painful ones, as essential parts of who they are. One evening, as they stood on the beach beneath a golden sunset, Cal turned to Ilara. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked, "bringing me back?" Ilara smiled, shaking her head. "No, you taught me that love isn't about holding on. It's about fighting for what matters. And I'd fight for you 1,000 times over." Cal kissed her forehead gently. "Then I guess we're even, because I'd do the same for you." As the waves crashed against the shore, Ilara realized something important. Life wasn't perfect. It never would be. But with Cal by her side, she felt ready to face whatever came next. Together, they had found a new beginning. And this time, they weren't letting go.